Well, ladies and gents, it looks like Resident Evil Requiem was going to start out as an open world multiplayer. So, we have Resident Evil Requiem producer has teased remaining multiplayer prototype features. The producer Masato discusses the game's start as an open world multiplayer title and teases that some of those elements have managed to remain in the current iteration. Even with an early 2026 launch date, there's a lot of excitement surrounding Resident Evil 9, obviously because Resident Evil, though the classic single-player experience was almost something else entirely. So I was actually a little bit gutted when they haven't even brought out, RE-verse or something like that, and it's just been sitting in my library, and it's like, well, what are you going to do, But you could play as Jack and all these other ones. I really still don't know what's going on with that game. But horror has been a big focus for the Resident Evil team, obviously, taking feedback from fans from over previous entries in the franchise, with some games being looked down upon more than others for seemingly prioritizing action gameplay. Yeah, to be honest with you, Resident Evil 4, 5, and 6 was more to the point of, it's still horror, but it's mostly action. And obviously over the shoulder, which is where they went. But Resident Evil 7, Resident Evil Biohazard, that brought the horror right back and everyone loved it. It's still one of my favorite games in the entire series, and I still play that a lot at the moment. It's just, with the Baker family, it's just so much more like, oh my god, backwater hillbilly hills of ice type of stuff, But with this one, they are saying though that this doesn't seem to be a case at all, as Capcom previously revealed that ideas to help make Resident Evil Requiem even scarier. Okay, while not all of those elements made the cut, fans have seen some of the scary ideas Capcom has been working with, including a new stalker-style monster protagonist, Grace Ashcroft, as she has to deal with. It's gonna be good. It's more than likely we're gonna get someone like Mr. X, isn't it, Still, there may be more surprising elements that players will come across during playthroughs. So it is teasing multiplayer elements. In an interview with Press Start, Requiem producer Masato compared to the horror Resident Evil 2, though that wasn't always the case. During Resident Evil Requiem's 6-year development, 6 years, wow. So 2020 is when they started it. Man, that's nuts. It originally started out as an open-world online multiplayer title. Kumazawa admitted that the main issue was that the game just wasn't very scary, even though it was fun to play. But we looked deeply into this game and wondered if a fan of the franchise would really like this, so we thought they wouldn't enjoy it as much. Well, no, because with Resident Evil, you have one specific thing, and that is basically zombies, and zombie dogs and jump scares of certain things. When you put that as an open world multiplayer, it's not really going to go that way, is it? You can't really have jump scares sort of thing. Now, if it was just a multiplayer, like you got co-op campaign, that's a bit different. But having it as an open world, it just wouldn't work. It really wouldn't. It's largely because of that reason that Capcom transitioned Resident Evil Requiem back to a traditional single-player experience. However, considering that the original multiplayer prototype was still looked at for being fun to play, some elements from that build were brought forward into the current game, but no additional details are. So that is going to be interesting to see, because Resident Evil, it's kind of a bit hit and miss if you want to do multiplayer. Co-op campaign like you could do in Resi 5 and all that was fun. But again, you can't really do it as an open world multiplayer. But this is what they said: I believe fans of the franchise want is survival horror and being scared. That is the number one thing that fans want. Hell yes. This is what the other Resident Evils have, just great stories to go along with, because the jump scares are there. It's like, oh my god, zombies, am I going to run out of ammo? I haven't got any herbs, I have no first aid spray, I have no ammo for my machine gun or whatever. All of that builds the tension, because you're like, right, I gotta run this way, I gotta try and dodge all of these. Oh no, there's, a chainsaw guy coming after me. And it's like, how am I going to survive? That is the fear. That is what people want. But still, a team honed in on the fact that even with a fun multiplayer experience, longtime fans likely wouldn't be pleased with a lack of horror, an expectation that comes with the Resident Evil franchise. He went on to admit that he believes fans are looking for survival horror elements in the series, and they want to be scared while playing. Yeah. It's like with Phasmophobia. It's like with Demonologist. When you play these type of horror games, you want to be scared. Because otherwise, why is it classed as a horror? If you don't get scared or you don't have like, jump out your skin moment, you know? But I believe fans of the franchise, what they want is survival horror and being scared. Yeah, it is, you know? But during the interview, he also touched on the perception that by the end of Resident Evil Village, it had become a bit too action heavy. Yeah, it did. I love Village, but it was more like, right, shoot the wolf, shoot this, shoot that. He also stressed that the team was focused on horror being the main element of Resident Evil Requiem, though it did seemingly tease a small use of action elements to help bring up the scares as a sort of distraction, to ensure the next horror section hits harder when players are not being prepared for it. That's literally it. Considering how much Leon Kennedy has been teased for Requiem, it's possible his inclusion could be used to fit those small bits of action segments. To be honest with you, I am really looking forward to this game, I really am. And I think it's going to be a big hit. And, we only get it literally in a couple of months' time. Which is absolutely insane because even though it's only the 17th of November, we're getting closer to 2026 already. This year has flown by. But guys, let us know what you think about this down below. As usual, my name is Dan, like and subscribe. And take care, and I'll see you soon.